Hello everyone, this side Preet Kamal and I'm a lecturer at Mehchan Polytechnic College Jalandhar. Today I am here to discuss with you about the subject of CPUC, that is computer programming using C. But before starting with the subject details, as always, I would share an important information related to the Mission Fateh, a campaign run by Punjab government. That is, we should wash our hands, we should use a sanitizer, mask, and along with that we should maintain the social distancing rules so that we could come out of this pandemic situation of COVID-19 as early as possible. So let's quickly move on to the today's topic of CPUC. The topic of today is data types in C. Now, what do you mean by data types? As the name suggests, it is the types of data that we could utilize, that we could use in the C language programming. So we could see here that in the data types, we are having three types of data. That is the primary data, in which we are having integer, character, float, double, and all these data. Then the secondary type of data, arrays, functions, pointers. And the third one is the user defined data, that is the structure, union, and enumerated data, right? So these are the basic main types of data that we are to use in our C language programming. Whenever we talk about these data types, we would definitely prefer the primary data types, that are the initial types, and these data types are such that without these data types our program could not be made. The secondary data types are optional. They could be used according to the requirement of the program. The user defined data types, they are also least optional. If they are needed, then they could be used, otherwise they are least utilized data types. But the main data types that we have to remember, that we have to memorize, are the primary data types. And now let's discuss these primary data types in detail. In today's lecture, we will only discuss and we will only focus on the primary data types, right? So in the primary data type, what happens here is we are having character data type, integer data type, float data type, and void. Four main types that are used as a primary data type. Okay, the first one we consider as, say, integer. So integer is again divided into two parts, that is the signed integers and unsigned integers. Now let me clear you what do you mean by signed and unsigned. Is signed means the integer that is having a negative number or a negative sign with it, and unsigned means only the positive numbers we are dealing with. In the signed integers, as we all know that integer means a numeric, a number that we are to use in case of our C language programming whenever we need to make a program. Then when we talk about signed integers, that means the numbers that are having minus sign with them, or the range that is from minus to plus. All this datas that are having numbers that is minus or plus, both the numbers could be included in the signed integers. And when we talk about the unsigned integers, then we only talk about the positive numbers, the positive numerics, right? Then signed and unsigned, both type of integers have three types that are used in the C language. That is the keyword that is utilized for using integer is named as int. INT. Whenever we have to write a program in C language, then we should only use int and not the complete integer. As we have already discussed in the last lecture, what do you mean by keywords are? So keywords, they are the predefined values or predefined words that are saved in the library functions of the C language programming. So we are to use int only, or we could write it signed int. signed short int, signed long int. Like this, we have to use it whenever we need to use it in the C programming language while typing the program, and we will not write integer there. We will write only the keyword, that is int. Okay, so if we need to use the unsigned integers, then we do not have to mention the unsigned, because by default the C programming language considers int as unsigned int. If we need to mention, or if we need to use negative numbers in a side, if we need to enter the negative numbers, if we need to use the negative numbers, then we have to mention here signed, and then only they will be considered. Otherwise the negative will not be considered, the negative term will not be considered. Okay, so unsigned is by default, so you don't have to write unsigned. If you will write int, if you will write short int, if you will write long int, anything, right? So I will tell you what do you mean by these all three, what is the difference between all three in the next slides, right? So here the main focus I am giving it on is, if we need to use positive numbers only, then by default you don't have to write unsigned, and only int will be considered as unsigned integer. Okay, and if you have to mention, then you have to mention signed. Then if we talk about the float, then float is the decimal point of numbers, right? In float we will discuss about the decimal numbers. So in integers, no decimal numbers will be considered. If we need to write it like say 5.5 or say 7.23, so it will not be considered in case of integer. Rather, when we write for that numbers, we have to write float in between, right? And when we talk about character, now the third primary data type is character. In this character we will mention only characters, that is the alphabets. If we need to write any name, if we need to write any alphabet, then the character data type is utilized to write any kind of characters and any kind of uh, you can say the alphabets. Okay, and for the character, the keyword that is used is char, that is char. Signed char, unsigned char, they are also there, but they are least utilized. And similarly in case of float, the keyword used is float. It's like that, only float is used. Double and long double floats are also there. And then the last one is the void. What do you mean by void? Is void means khali. Void ka matlab hota hai khali, that if you do not have to return anything, अगर आप कोई भी चीज को कोई भी डेटा टाइप नहीं लगाना चाहते हो उसके साथ, तो हम void data type use करते हैं, and it is mainly used with the main function that tells us that here the function has started, as I have discussed in the last lecture, that in the structure of the program that we have discussed, right? In that lecture I have told you that void is basically used with along with the main function, where we need to write the program. Then here, first of all, I would tell you about the data types and their ranges. So if we talk about the character, then its range is from minus 128 to plus 127. Here minus is not written. Minus, it's you please note it that here it is minus 128 to plus 127. It is for the signed character, right? For the unsigned character, it is from 0 to 255. So if you will add 128 and 127, it will become 255, right? The range is same, right? But here we have divided it into negative range, and here it is only in the positive range. So in the positive range, the value of it increases, obviously, right? It becomes double from 0 to last value, that is 255. So total 256 is its range. Then the size in bytes, that in the memory how much size this particular data type carries is 1 byte. 1 byte means 8 bits, right? And when we talk about short or integer, then its range in the signed case, its ranges from -32768 up to 32767. This you have to remember, right? And when we talk about the unsigned integer, that means only positive numbers, then it takes a byte size of 2 bytes. As in the character, it was taking a byte size of 1 byte from memory. The integer takes 2 bytes from the memory, and its range, unsigned integer, has a range from 0 to 65536. 65536, yes, sorry, 0 to 65535, total 65536, right? This you have to remember. And if we discuss about the unsigned integer, then we have to write percentage u for using it in the programming language, right? If we talk about simple integer, then we could use either I, percentage I, or percentage d. You have to remember all this, then I will tell you that how to use these things later on, right? Then the character is percentage C. Whether it is unsigned or signed character, we will use percentage C to represent character. We will use percentage D to represent integer. We will use percentage F to represent float, right? And percentage U to represent unsigned integer, right? And then we talk about long or unsigned long or float double and the long double, then they are having some these kinds of ranges, right? But the float is taking 4 bytes of the memory. So the size of these particular data types, character, int and float, that you have to remember that character takes only 1 byte of size. It is 1 byte of size in case of memory, right? When we have to save it in the memory. Then when we talk about the integer, then it takes 2 bytes of memory size, right? And it is, the float is 4 bytes of memory size. Its memory size is of 4 bytes. And we will use percentage F. Mostly percentage F is being utilized. And here E 3.4 e minus 38 to 3.4 e plus 38. So this actually shows e means the 10 raised to the power, right? So 3.4 into 10 raised to the power minus 38 to 3.4 into 10 raised to the power plus 38. So it is something like this, okay? Then if we talk about the integer data type in detail, then I would say that it is a numeric value. As I've already told you, it includes both the positive and negative values. It is represented by int, and its range is already told to you. Then some of the example is like 56 minus 22 plus 375 minus 746, or whatever, any number in negative or positive, we can say it is a numeric, and it is called as integer in case of C programming language. The integer size is of 2 bytes. If long int, we will talk about the long integer, and it will be of 4 bytes. So whenever we need to declare this integer number in case of our program, whenever we will be writing the program, then it will be declared as int a is equals to say 20, 30, 40, 50, whatever the number you need to mention, right? So it is like integer is a data type, a, b, c here are the variables, and these are the integer numbers that we are assigning to these variables, right? Then after, when we talk about the float data type, so it is used to store the numeric values only, but those numeric values that are having decimal points in them. And its range I have already discussed with you, that is having 3.4 e minus 38 to 3.4 e plus 38, right? So it is minus 38 or plus 38, like that, okay? Then so here it means 3.4 e means 10 raised to the power, right? That is, I have already told. Then these numbers occupy 4 bytes of memory space. Its declaration is like float, as I have already told you that float data type is used same as its uh, keyword. So float is the keyword in the C programming language. So we will define float, say x, y, z, anything. And then after semicolon, as I've already told you, semicolon is used to used for the end of the line, right? It tells the end of the statement. Okay, then it is used to store if we need to store more large values than this than this 3.4 into 10 raised to the power 38, then we could use double float, right? Double only could be used as a keyword for the float. It will occupy 8 bytes of memory space, and its range will be from this 1.7 e minus e means into 10 raised to the power minus 3082 plus 1.7 e into 10 raised to the power plus 308, right? Then even for the larger values, if we need to store more greater values, more larger values than double than this range, this particular range, then we could use long double, right? And it will take 10 bytes of memory space, and its range will be from 1.7 e minus 49322 to 1.7 e 4932 in the plus side, right? So this could be the float data type. Now the character data type, the character data type can be used to declare a variable that holds a single character, only a single character, and that if you need to um, provide the single character, you have to write it in single quotes, right? It's written this, it is written right here, that is in single quotes. Asterisk is written in single quotes. Say character ch is there, say character, the keyword is char, char, as I've already told you that here it is the used is here the keyword used in the character is char. Say char letter here is the variable name, the name of the variable, that we could write anything in the variable name. So letter that we have to print, that we have to say give at the output, that is a, small a, capital A, B, C, anything, any alphabet you could use, but you have to use it in single inverted commas. Okay, so that will be assigned to the character variable letter. Okay, character is data type, letter is the name of the variable, and in single inverted commas, this A is the character that we need to enter, that we need to show, or we need to print on the output screen, that we are providing it to that particular character, right? Then after this was about the primary data types, the basic data types that we are to use uh, whenever we need to write any kind of program. Okay, so the next topic is escape sequences. Now what do you mean by escape sequence is that whenever we need to use some different or some special kind of characters, so that we could use them whenever we need them in the C language programming. Uh, that means they are basically called as literals, and they are made up of two characters, but they are treated as a single character. I will tell you how. That you can see here that the escape sequence, these are the literals. This slash followed by n means here new line. These are some special sequences जो हम यूज करते हैं हमारी सी लैंग्वेज प्रोग्रामिंग के अंदर. इन सीक्वेंसेस को हम लोग स्पेशली डिजाइन इसे किया गया है, कंपाइलर के अंदर स्पेशली डिजाइन किया गया है, और इसे हम यूज करते हैं डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द रिक्वायरमेंट ऑफ से न्यू लाइन व्हेन वी नीड टू showcase our output in such a way that we need कि जो हमारी आउटपुट है वो एक लाइन में आने की जगह दो लाइंस में आए या तीन लाइंस में आए, या अगर हमसे तीन आउटपुट्स, हमारे आउटपुट स्क्रीन पे तीन आउटपुट्स हमने दिखानी है, तो वो सारी की सारी आउटपुट्स जो हैं वो ऐसे इकट्ठी ना नजर आए कि a इज इक्वल्स टू दिस, b इज इक्वल्स टू दिस, c इज इक्वल्स टू दिस, लाइक दिस, इस तरह से ना आए, रादर दैन वो शो हो एक प्रॉपर फॉर्मेट में, एक तरीके से, एक अच्छे तरीके से, एक अच्छे वे से शो हो, या अगर हम कोई टेबल बना रहे हैं तो हमें कुछ स्पेस चाहिए बीच में कि यहाँ पे सीरियल नंबर आए, यहाँ पे से नेम आए, यहाँ पे से एड्रेस आए, यहाँ पे कॉन्टैक्ट नंबर आए, समथिंग लाइक दैट अगर हम लोग बना रहे हैं, तो अब वो सीरियल नंबर, एड्रेस, कॉन्टैक्ट और सारी चीज़ों के अंदर कुछ स्पेस होनी चाहिए, कुछ डिफरेंस होना चाहिए। तो दैट वी नॉर्मल लैंग्वेज में हम लोग उसको बोलते हैं टैब, कि हम लोग अगर टैब प्रेस कर दें हमारे कीबोर्ड से, तो जो दो वर्ड्स का, दो अल्फाबेट्स का या दो नंबर्स का या दो जो भी चीजें हमने लिखी हैं उनका जो डिफरेंस है, जो डिस्टेंस है आपस में, वो बढ़ जाता है। रादर देन अ स्पेस, इफ वी यूज टैब तो उसका डिस्टेंस थोड़ा सा ज्यादा बढ़ जाता है। अगर और ज्यादा बढ़ाना है तो हम डबल टैब यूज कर सकते हैं, तो और ज्यादा डिस्टेंस बढ़ जाता है। तो यहाँ पे सी लैंग्वेज प्रोग्रामिंग के अंदर हम ये चीजें डायरेक्टली कीबोर्ड से मेंशन नहीं कर सकते हैं। हम उसे यहाँ से कीबोर्ड से टैब दबा के या कीबोर्ड से स्पेस दबा के, कीबोर्ड से एंटर दबा के हम न्यू लाइन या टैब या ये चीजें हम लोग नहीं कर सकते हैं। जैसे जो हमारा किसी एक पर्टिकुलर चीज का सिंटेक्स है, प्रिंट का या स्कैन का या किसी चीज का एक सिंटेक्स है, राइट, कोई डेटा टाइप का, तो उसमें हम इन्वर्टेड कॉमास या डबल इन्वर्टेड कॉमास यूज कर रहे हैं। तो अब अगर वो प्रिंट में हम उसे शो करना चाहते हैं तो वो तो सिंटेक्स का पार्ट बन गया, तो हम उसे शो नहीं कर पाएंगे। तो उस टाइम पे जब हम न्यू लाइन लगाना चाहते हैं, जब हम टैब करना चाहते हैं, जब हम बैक स्पेस या बैक स्लैश लगाना चाहते हैं, या हम डबल इन्वर्टेड कॉमास या सिंगल इन्वर्टेड कॉमास को आउटपुट स्क्रीन पे शो करना चाहते हैं, कुछ स्पेशल कैरेक्टर्स को शो करना चाहते हैं जो हम नॉर्मली उसके अंदर, नॉर्मल अगर हम कीबोर्ड से एंटर करें तो वो चीज काम नहीं कर सकती, तो उनके लिए उसको उस चीज के लिए हमारी हेल्प करने के लिए कि हम लोग वो चीजें जो नहीं हम कीबोर्ड से डायरेक्टली उसमें एंटर करवा सकते हैं, उसके लिए हम यूज करते हैं दिस escape sequence. And ये special escape sequences है, जैसे slash n, this backslash and then n, it shows the new line, then backslash t shows the horizontal tab, backslash and b shows the backspace। अगर हम कोई चीज लिख रहे हैं और उसमें हम चाहते हैं कि एक बार वो लिखी जाए, उसके बाद बैकस्पेस आके फिर दोबारा से नेक्स्ट लाइन लिखी जाए, तो हम ये चीज यूज करते हैं। देन आर कैरेज रिटर्न, ए ऑडिबल बेल अगर हम उसमें इंक्लूड करना चाहते हैं, कोई अलार्म इंक्लूड करना चाहते हैं, राइट। देन सिंगल इन्वर्टेड कॉमाज हम लोग वहां पे मेंशन करना चाहते हैं कि सिंगल इन्वर्टेड कॉमाज नजर आए वहां पे। जैसे मैंने आपको कैरेक्टर में बताया कि हम सिंगल इन्वर्टेड कॉमाज में जो अल्फाबेट लिखेंगे वो अल्फाबेट आउटपुट स्क्रीन के ऊपर शो होगा, लेकिन वो सिंगल इन्वर्टेड कॉमाज वहां शो नहीं होंगे। तो अगर हम वो सिंगल इन्वर्टेड कॉमास को वहां पे शो करना चाहते हैं तो हमें क्या करना पड़ेगा, ये एस्केप सीक्वेंस यूज करना पड़ेगा, सिंगल स्लैश सिंगल इन्वर्टेड कॉमा और स्लैश डबल इन्वर्टेड कॉमा और स्लैश क्वेश्चन मार्क और बैक स्लैश डबल बैक स्लैश देन स्लैश एफ स्लैश वी एंड ऑल दीज थिंग्स दैट वी कुड यूज एज लाइक आर एस्केप सीक्वेंस। तो ये चीजें हम लोग उसमें यूज कर सकते हैं। So this was all about today. So I hope you all are clear with the primary data types and the escape sequences that I have discussed today. If you will be having any doubts, then you could share with me, and I will take the queries in your live session as always. And one more thing I have to tell you now is that from today onwards I'm starting a new thing, that whoever, that if whenever you are seeing my video, especially the students who are seeing my video, please like the video and make a comment in your own name or roll number or whatever you want to use there, so that I could recognize you, so that I could see that all the students are seeing my video completely or not. So this will be an indication for me. You could write any comment, not any comment, write any comment related to the subject. If you are having any doubts, you can write them in the comment box. Or if you like the video, if you like the way I have explained it, if you like anything specifically, then you could write that also. Anything means something within your limits you have to write in the comment box, and like the video, so that I would recognize that how many of my students have gone through the complete video. Okay, so we'll meet in the next video. Thank you. Take care. Till then, we'll meet again. Bye.